Anyway, so Trevor Pawl, let's recap way back when that big announcement with Google and everybody, because we covered it sort of briefly, but we didn't really get into detail on it. What's that going to mean for the mobility future of Michigan?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's good to be on this snowy day. So this announcement was made back in February by Governor Whitmer, Bill Ford, Mayor Mike Duggan of the city of Detroit, as well as Ruth Porat, Google's CFO. And the announcement was really two-pronged. The first was a public-private partnership where the state, the city, and Ford would work together to activate the Michigan Central Innovation District and align about $126 million in new and existing resources to hit multiple different pillars that touch economic development, community development, workforce, and then also the announcement of a new test bed inside the Michigan Central Innovation District, which is a 30-acre neighborhood within Corktown, Detroit. So the goal there, quite simple. We want to attract 5,000 workers to that district, 2,500 Ford, 2,500 non-Ford. And to get the non-Ford, you need to have the city and the state behind it. And the other part of that announcement.
I froze.
What's that?
What, Matt?
Oh my.
Oh, we lost Matt again. He's having connection problems. Continue on with that thought,
Okay.
Trevor.
So the second part of the announcement is this really cool partnership between Ford and Google to do two things, really. To partner to build the workforce of the future. Google has some world-class training academies, Code Next and Grow with Google. And those are going to be launched out of the Michigan Central Innovation District. And then secondly, they're going to work together to co-develop new products, new software, new technologies right out of the district that maybe will start in Detroit and then ultimately scale globally. So a lot to be excited about coming out of that February announcement. And right now, we're focused a ton on building out the governance structure for that public-private partnership, so we can spend that money responsibly and begin to have real people doing real things down at the district, because it's been under construction for a few years.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a shot in the arm for the Corktown area. My favorite bar down there, Nemo's, is probably going to be pretty crowded all the time. I remember last time I was down there, I haven't been down there in a while because of the pandemic, but what used to be one of the parking lots is now a bunch of condos. So a lot of folks are moving in now to develop the infrastructure, as it were, to accommodate all those 5,000 folks, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Nemo's is a great bar, by the way.
My
Just
favorite.
get a drink and look at the walls of all the 1980s Detroit news sports articles. I like doing that. So I think it's going to be a huge boost to the retail bar restaurant activity along Michigan Avenue. But I also think it's going to be a big boost to the local neighborhoods, Southwest Detroit, neighborhoods on the other side of 75. A part of the MOU is around the future of housing. Making sure that housing stays affordable, but also we're very innovative in our approach to the sort of the live, work, play model. This means creating green spaces. There was some exciting news recently about the district connecting through a greenway to the Detroit River. So lots to talk about, lots of activity.
So when you talk about a testing center down there, what physical form is that going to take? Is that going to be in the building, around the grounds, part of the development in the neighborhood? I mean, what's that going to look like? Yeah,
so essentially it's going to be a sectioned off area, but still publicly accessible, but an area that will allow for new mobility technologies to enter into the real world sooner through expedited permitting. So systems, essentially the city of Detroit will be piloting a new system for approvals to ensure that, we're still rolling these new technologies out responsibly. But if you were to deploy something within this physical area, it's likely that you will be able to do it sooner than you would if you were in another part of the city of Detroit. Additionally, there'll be different sort of technology tools, different software platforms that you'll have access to if you test within this zone. And then the state of Michigan also will be looking at the zone for new technologies potentially that could go along other roadways around the state, or other physical infrastructure or digital infrastructure around the state. So it'll be really, we have I believe, the world's most diverse set of testing sites between the American Center for Mobility, City, all the things happening in the UP and up north, Kettering.
Right.
But I think this fits nicely into that portfolio, and in the sense that it is a real community, a real road. And what's really cool is, so the technologies in that community, the local neighborhood residents will be able to, almost like, TV ratings, like Nielsen ratings, like there's a group of people that get to sort of react to shows first and say, I don't know if I like that, or that's hilarious, that's great. It'll kind of be the same way of technology. So you'll see new technology and you'll be able to say, if you're local, like, hey, this doesn't really work for me. You know what? This is great. We should do more of it. So it really is it's not just throwing tech in the community without any regard for the citizens. In fact, we're regarding the citizens' opinions very much, and this is an opportunity to allow the neighborhood to integrate with things that we believe are going to change the world over the next few decades.
I realize this is a Ford operation backed by all these other players, City of Detroit, Google, whatnot. But we do have a couple other large automakers here, Stellantis, and that was GM, I think it's called. Are they going to play in this space, or what's happening there? I was always curious about that.
Yeah, sure. So this is Bill Ford's vision, and Ford Motor Company has done amazing things to get the district to a place where it can be active. But the truth is, similar to how Bedrock owns buildings downtown that in some cases competitors exist within. Ford is really looking at the district as an agnostic place. I mean, there will be, Ford's AV work, there will be Ford operations down there, but there's 3 anchors within the district. There's that train station, public space is the train station, offices above, and then hotel at the top, and then the book depository, which is right next door. Maybe the most underrated aspect of this district, this massive facility, 4 floors, that will essentially be this tech hub where startups meet major global corporates. And then there'll be a sort of a micro mobility exchange, it's called a Bagley Mobility Hub, but it will be a mixture of state-of-the-art charging, as well as state-of-the-art sort of transit options for folks that want to get in and around Detroit and the district. So those are the 3 different districts, right? And only portions of that will be Ford. The rest of it, anyone can come and play. And I know it's very competitive, and I know that that's not a natural thing to hear in this market. But that's truly the vision, that this is something that goes beyond any one company and positions Michigan and the state and the Midwest in America to lead in the future of transportation going forward.
So talk a little bit about what's going to be in the book depository. You don't hear as much about that as you hear about the train station, simply because the train station's so visible.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. So I think what you're going to have is essentially innovation studios that focuses on some of the biggest mobility problems of our region, but also of the world, and bring in technology providers all over the world to pilot solutions to alleviate those problems, or fix systemic inequity, make streets more accessible, not just for SUVs and sedans, but any type of mobility, from drones to trains to trucks. I think you're also going to see some companies that really didn't have any business here or business being here before the Michigan Central Innovation District came online, now being interested in wanting to develop products and services out of there. Companies that have made their names in other parts of the country and the world, now wanting to make their name in Detroit. And then I think you'll also have a healthy public sector presence, because as we know, the future of mobility, especially as it relates to infrastructure, both charging and smart, needs to involve government. And that's why the city and the state are so deeply involved. So it's imagine the hodgepodge, of different people, really intelligent minds coming to work each day, bumping into each other, sharing ideas. Think of companies starting out of there. Think of companies growing out of there. Think of the next global big corporate to move here, potentially looking at Michigan Central first. I mean, there's just a world of possibilities.
Well, one of the big factors that's always been an issue in the state, and I've been covering it for 25 years, is money. You refer to all these startups. What missing sort of in a lot of these plans are bringing in private equity finance, be it angel or venture or whatever. Are we looking at that too? Because these startups 100%. Can't do this on their own. It takes a lot of money.
Yeah. It's the classic chicken or the egg problem, if you create enough startups in a region, will the VCs come, or do you need the VCs for the startups to be created?
Right.
We think it's probably a mixture of both. It's a hybrid. And yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that one of the core goals of the team is to ensure that we especially get some more early stage venture capital in Michigan to allow for companies to start and grow. I think we have that in other sectors, but I think we could be doing a lot. Given that mobility represents 1 in every 5 jobs in the state, we should have way more mobility startups, than we do. I also think that we need more scale capital. A lot of times companies will start here, founders will get educated here, and they just feel as though they have to leave for talent, and they have to leave just because they want to be close to their VCs, which are typically in the Valley or on the East Coast or something like that.
New York or wherever, yeah.
Wherever, yeah. So we know we need to sort of service all types of companies, but I think you start with the early stage and they grow from there. So that's absolutely on our mind.
So you talk about leaving for talent. I mean, obviously that means education is a big part of it. Talk a little bit about the educational partnerships that you'll be seeking for this district.
Yeah, well, I think there's going to be a couple of different kinds, right? We have a transition issue in our state right now. We have some of the world's best internal combustion engine workers that will need to transition into a battery electric future. And we need to create assets, academies, pathways for them to do that. But we can't do it alone as a state. And Michigan Central gives us an opportunity to work with Ford, work with their supply chain, work with other companies that are going to be, maybe weren't traditionally in the auto industry, but now are in the auto industry and have world-class training programs. Think Google, think Cisco, think companies like that. Now we have a chance to co-develop things with them, co-author programs with them to help transition our workforce a bit faster than yesterday. And then secondly, we can create programs that are focused on artificial intelligence, knowledge economy, future, like design thinking. A lot of times I use this a lot, but you hear autonomous, connected, shared electric in a city like Detroit, you think the automotive industry immediately. But the truth is, you go other places, you go to Seattle, they think the aerospace industry, because these 4 technology platforms are changing the world, changing every industry. And I think we can leverage our automotive advantage to be a base of training, a base camp for those that are focused on the future of autonomous, connected, shared electric, whether you're in food, consumer goods, wearables, defense. And so I think Michigan Central can be a nucleus that it's like you go there, you get into a couple of different curriculi, and all of a sudden you come out and you're extremely marketable as a worker. And that means, electrification, that also means autonomy and anything in between.
Coming down to the last couple of minutes, and I'm going to give you the where are we going to be in 5 years with something like this? You got about 1 minute to answer. You probably need more, but go ahead, take a shot at it.
Yeah, in 5 years.
Yeah, let's just throw out 5 years. What's this going to do to Detroit? What's Detroit look like 5 years from now in terms of mobility?
Yeah, so 2027. Well, the Lions will have won a Super Bowl, first of all, and the Tigers will have been to a World Series, but probably not won it. Yep. The Pistons will be a playoff team, and the Red Wings will still not be a playoff team, but close. So here's what I think. I think that the Michigan Central Innovation District will be humming. I think you'll be organically seeing companies want to move here, so much so that the state won't necessarily need to pay top dollar in incentives potentially, because we're creating the conditions much like Boston has for success, where people just want to be a part of it. I think you'll see some game-breaking technologies developed out of Michigan Central that will save lives and make our commutes more productive and uphold the person's dignity. I also think there's other innovation districts in and around Detroit, what Bedrock and Rocket Mortgage are doing, what the University of Michigan is doing. I think all of those innovation districts online in 2027 will be working together. And I think it will change the type of people that work down here. And I think the neighborhoods will be better off. And I think, you're going to continue to see the rise of Detroit all through this decade because of these districts, but also because of all the other factors.